श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम। श्रुतिस्मृति आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादशङ्करं लोकशङ्करम्। ओम नमो भगवते रमणाय। आज्यधारया स्रोतसा समम् सरलचिन्तनं विरलतः परम्। So we are talking of meditation, chintanam, which is sarala, better than or superior to virala. Sarala means unbroken. And virala is vichidya, broken. Means you make some progress today, two steps forward and then 3 steps backward, like that. So in our childhood they asked me a question. We were very dumb guys moving around, and so a person asked me, there was a frog in the well, it wants to come out and it jumps, 2 feet it jumps, but it slips back by 2.5 feet. As it jumps, it slips back by 2.5 feet. Okay? In how many jumps it will come to the top? That is the question. So, I was furiously calculating how many jumps it will take. So, our Vedanta should not be like that. So, we should be devoted to our goal. Devoted to our goal. You know what is the goal? Pujanam Chintanam. That is the goal. We should make it like that. Pujanam Chintanam. See, some of these goals are very funny goals. They mislead us. Like, my goal is to become a CEO. Okay, if you become a CEO, it's okay, but making it a goal, you know, or that is how the people suffer in the world. My goal is to become a millionaire, that money wise. To become a CEO means power. We want power, authority. So that is the goal. Or my goal is to enjoy this or that. My goal is to visit North Pole, or to go to moon. Some are to go to Las Vegas. Some such goal. So, to enjoy this pleasure or that pleasure. These are the goals. Now, when you have such goals, it is called samsara. Now, you come to sannyasa, samsara versus sannyasa. So, I want to become a teacher. That is the goal. Look at that. So, the me is intact, you know, the me, the seeking me, the desiring me, the insecure me is very much intact. I want to become a teacher, or I want to make an ashram, build an ashram and become the head of it. So a goal. Or I should have many shishyas. In every continent I should have shishyas. A goal, the me. These kinds of goals people have, they have to examine their goals. So I suggest, so there are only 2 goals. Pujanam is, so Ashtamurti Bhrudeva Pujanam. That is the Pujanam. Means serve the people, help the people. If teaching is the way of helping the people, then let the teaching be there, without you being the teacher. Without the me, let there be teaching. If that is the way, you see, suppose you want to do blood donation camp is there. Suppose I go there, they will turn me out because my blood is not suitable. Old age blood they won't take. Whereas a young man goes there, that is the right way of serving people. But what this old guy can do, suppose he can teach some mathematics, do that. Or you teach some grammar or Sanskrit, teach that. Serve the people in whatever way you can. That is the goal. Serving the people is the goal. Now, what about family? They are also people. Serve them. Be at home and serve them. No, somebody has taken to sannyas. Okay, serve the students there or serve the inmates of the ashram. Do some service to them. So serve the people without the me. And then that is the goal. Serve the people, that is the goal. Now don't start something about it. Do it silently and quietly and without the me. And then don't start with a brochure and all that and a fundraiser and all that. That is not what I am suggesting. Then the another goal in life is discover the truth. Find the truth. That is the goal. Only two goals. There is no other goal. Other things are, they will be there. Like it is time for breakfast. So breakfast becomes the goal, kind of. So you walk where it is available and get hold of it and eat it. No, you said no goal, therefore I skip my breakfast. That is not the way to look at it. Understand it in the right spirit. So then, if this is how you set the goal, and then be devoted to the goal, then what happens? You lead a clean and orderly life. And now that life is given for the search of truth and for serving people. It is time to serve people, to serve the people. So that keeps you healthy, agile, energetic and enthusiastic and cheerful. That work, that movement, that activity makes all that. And then search for the truth. Inquire, investigate, Shravana, Manana, all that. You don't need there is no third goal. What about life? Roti, kapda, makan. Somebody, you have some food and a few set of clothes and a roof to hide the head. That is all you need. That is taken care. So that is not a goal. It is incidental. And so this is how we should live. I suggest that people should pay attention to what is being said. Only two goals. All other things are not goals. I am not suggesting to make them targets. I am not make them targets. Everything is an adhyaropa. Keep two goals means drop all other goals, etc. And finally these two, when service to people, it becomes natural and spontaneous, it is no more a goal. And when the truth is shining like daylight, then that is also not a goal. Therefore, provisionally I said like that. To make a life clean and orderly possible. And then what happens, what you call goals, they become spontaneous. Now they are no more goals. So what happens is when you function that way, all the obstacles for the truth or in the realization of the truth, whatever obstacles are there. So what are the obstacles? Desires, fears and wrong ideas. These are the three obstacles. There are no other obstacles. Desires, fears and wrong ideas. As long as you entertain these three obstacles, whatever you do, whatever rituals you do, etc., it doesn't matter, it doesn't make a big difference. It doesn't make a difference. You have to understand these are the obstacles. And when you lead a clean and orderly life devoted to these two goals, then these three obstacles will move out. So they are removed for good. And therefore, once the obstacles are removed, the goals become spontaneous. They are no more goals. They are part of the very nature of the person himself. This is how. So the vichidya. So the meditation done some time and then give up and again come back to it, again give up, again come back. That kind of a situation can be altered and the meditation can be made continuous. Continuous means don't take lunch, don't take dinner, not that way. So the life becomes meditative. For example, while eating food, why should you talk? So eating food can be converted into a meditation. Annam brahmeti vyajanat. You remember that. In fact, one Mahatma used to conduct a meditation while the lunch is being served. In fact, this idea I got in Salesburg that I will do a meditation for the lunch. But after noticing the atmosphere in the lunch hall, so I gave up that idea. Therefore, people are so talkative and so noisy, so any such proposal will meet a tremendous resistance. So therefore I gave up the idea. So you should eat food silently. Suppose you practice eat food silently. Then you eat food consciously. Generally, we do not eat food consciously. There is a lot of science in it. Science or Vedanta, both are same. Jnanam, knowledge. Like there is a rule. Munch 32 times. How many teeth you have? 32 teeth you have. So keep that as a goal temporarily, and take a morsel of food. You first prepare the morsel of food. One ball of a food, whatever mix, you formulate it and mix it and do it is ready for consumption. So make a morsel of it and put in the mouth. Reasonably good size morsel you make and put in the mouth and munch 32 times. That's all. Once you munch 32 times, or at least munch a good number of times. When you do that, you become that is how you bring in awareness. You are now eating the food, and while you are aware of what you are eating the food, you need not say be aware. It is as good as saying be aware, because when you are munching it in a good number of times, and you are not talking, and you are munching, and then what happens? A few things happen. You will not know what is indigestion and all that. That is a small thing to say. Second, you will not overeat. You will not overeat. You see, what happens is you overeat because the hunger, the sense of hunger betrays you. There is a deception there. It is the thirst which is mistaken as hunger. That is one problem. Secondly, because you are not munching, the system, it receives more than it requires, and the actual hunger is not properly understood, or it is not felt properly. But once you munch a good number of times, so the hunger it is put in its proper place, and there is no deception involved. Maybe I am not able to explain it properly, but you will not overeat. You will not overeat. The hunger issue will not be there. You will become satiated in the right way. Therefore there will be no overeating. You see that? So you can convert eating into meditation. That is how the devotion to the goal. Then walking. You walk alone in solitude. Suppose you have to go along with a person for a purpose, that is all right. But if possible, go alone for walking, and be aware of the walking. While walking, be aware of the walking. That becomes meditation, meditative rather. But be careful. Be careful until you practice it and you are confident about it. Be careful. You don't want to take a wrong step and all that. Okay. Therefore, so this is how the meditation has to become natural and spontaneous. The sahaja, it must become sahaja. That is called sarala chintanam. You have to move in that direction. I suggest that in the beginning, the practice of yoga, this is yoga, this is yoga, is very deliberate, is often deliberate in the beginning, and requires some determination. Like food, while eating food, I don't speak. and I munch a good number of times. So in the beginning, you need a determination, a resolve. But gradually, it becomes practice to you, it becomes natural, and people also get the idea of it. They won't disturb you. Or you can put a badge in silence like that. There is a badge like that. I saw with a friend. You can get hold of a badge and put it here. People respect it. And therefore, in beginning, some determination is required. But eventually, it becomes normal. So, you see, if you practice for a while Sarala Chantanam without break, etc., then the self-realization as a goal, even it remains, you are consciously or unconsciously, that settles down into your system. Self-realization as a goal. You may be aware of, you may be conscious of it, or you may not be conscious of it. The goal is self-realization. It becomes like that. It becomes natural. So, whereas in the initial stages, you have to remind yourself that the goal is self-realization. You have to remind yourself. So, the practice of yoga is like that. In the beginning, it requires determination, but sooner than later, it becomes natural. This is what is called unconscious sadhana. So, Virala Chintanam is conscious sadhana, whereas Sarala Chintanam is unconscious sadhana. Means whatever you speak in such a way that it helps the others. Whatever you do, it is done in such a way that it is helpful to others. And whatever thought comes, it is such a nice thought, a loving thought only. It becomes like that. You don't make any effort about it. This is called unconscious sadhana, or it is also called a sadhana which is not a sadhana. In Ashtavakra Gita, there is a very enigmatic verse. It says, a person who is still practicing sadhana is unfit for knowledge, something like that. What is being said means, still sadhana has not become natural or spontaneous or unconscious. Still you have to do deliberate sadhana. That means the fruit is not yet ripe. That is the spirit of that statement. So that is how the Sarala Chintanam has to be understood. I suggest the sadhakas, means we people, should have two qualities. One is humility and second is silence. These two you must have. What is humility? So, you see, humility is not pretending that you are humble, not that way. So, sometimes what happens, you come across a person with a loin cloth, very simply dressed and very simple looking, yet he just opens his mouth and his mind is now, it is becoming evident to you. You are able to see what is going on in his mind. You will be repelled. You will run away from there. That is not the simplicity or humbleness that I am talking about. The point is, it is not enough that you are outwardly simple. You should be inwardly simple too. Suppose you look inwardly and look at the consciousness. How is the movement of me there? Me. How is the movement of me? It is me and they, or we and they, means divisive. Me is always divisive. You should know that. Me is always divisive. Me goes with mine. My house, that is divisive, my house versus all other houses which are not mine. My caste, divisive. My creed or religion, divisive. My race, divisive. My country, divisive. This is how the me moves. Every movement of me is divisive, fragmentary. Okay? Now the guy comes to Vedanta. And now he says, my sampradaya. Look at that. Yeah. So he studied Vedanta. Now what is the purpose of the study of Vedanta? To overcome fragmentation and division. Means to overcome the me. When there is no fragmentation or division in the consciousness, the me will not be there. It is an impersonal consciousness. It is not the me. But you do not move in that direction, you know. So you study and say my Vedanta or my Sampradaya, my Guru, my sect, or my ashram versus your ashram, my school of thought versus your school of thought. So after studying Vedanta for 5 years, this is where the guy ends up. The me, a bloated me, a spiritualized me. Not the me which dissolves in spirituality, no. The spiritualized me. That is not the way to proceed about it. That is not humility. In humility, there is no me. That is the true humility. The humility should move in that direction. And then silence. You see, what is the mind? What is the mind? Mind is movement, which is the memory, which is the known, which is the past. And you will never know the present unless you become free from the known, from the memory, from the past. So, you got the point. You will not know the present as long as thought is moving. As long as thought is operating, you will not know what is the present. Because thought is past. Thought is past. And thought divides life into past, present and future. I am not talking of that present. So, thought is past. Thought is time. Whereas present is timeless. And as long as thought is operating, there is no present. And therefore there is no timeless. Truth is timeless. You have to address these issues a little more deeply than just quoting a verse from here or a line from there. These are to be addressed more deeply. Not just you become an apprentice of a particular system which is already in place. You become an apprentice to that. That doesn't liberate you. That is not the way to proceed. So, the point I was trying to make is, when there is silence, means when thought comes to an end, thought stops creating, then there is freedom from the known, and in that freedom there is present, and which is timeless. Then you may ask, if there is silence, so how to live a life? Certainly you need thought to live a life. You need thought to live the life, not money. Money will come later, but first thought. So thought comes when thought is needed. Like now your mind is quiet and focused in a single flow. Not many things are going on. But once the class is over, you need thought to get up and walk out and go to your room and go to and take a cup of tea. You need thought. Thought will come. When needed, it will come. And it will come from that silence. Silence becomes your homestead. That is your home. And you operate from the home. You have to go out to the market, you leave the home and go to market and come back to the home. The silence becomes the home. And so, you need humility, meaning freedom from the me, and you need silence. These are the basic inputs for meditative life, which takes you to the truth. So, when there is humility and silence, that inner fruit, it matures. Till then, till that kind of a maturity comes, you need to have this deliberation about meditation, about study, etc. That kind of deliberate practice will be required. And once it becomes spontaneous, then it becomes a sadhana, which is not a sadhana anymore. So, this is how the meditation, when you practice, it becomes gradually more and more subtle, until the practice becomes altogether formless. It has no form anymore. So, you go for a walk, that is meditation. You eat food, that is meditation. You are talking with a person with love, that is meditation. Everything becomes meditation. A particular form is meditation. It moves out of that kind of an initial stage. This is how Sarala Chintanam has to be understood. Then, you see, meditation is sattvic in nature. You should know that. Meditation is sattvic. Means what? Suppose you are dull. So, suppose you said meditation. You see, my friend was there. He says, I have to do 10 lakhs japam. So, holidays are coming, summer holidays are coming. I will do 10 lakhs japam. And then make an announcement about it. In the family, every member knows that he is going to do 10 lakhs japam in the coming summer holidays. And then he will go to a particular place and do that japam. If Kashi you can go, then that is best. Or if you cannot go to Kashi, go to a nearby town in Andhra Pradesh, Seychelles, etc. And there take a room and 10 lakhs japam. So he was doing it. I was impressed by that. It's not easy to take up that kind of sadhana. So it so happened that I went that side and I went to see him and so to see the glory of 10 lakhs japa in the summer holiday. You know what, when I went there, what he was doing? He was sitting like this, mala is in the lap and he is sleeping. Then I woke him up and said, what happened? I got up at 3:30 in the morning. So this is how, so that is tamas. Therefore, you need not do 10 lakhs. You need not go to a place to do japa. You can stay where you are and you need not have that kind of a ego trip that I will do 10 lakh this and that. And you can be awareful and so that is tamas. Just I gave you an example that meditation should be free from tamas. But then some sleepiness, some laziness is natural to human beings. So therefore that's why I suggest you sleep well. Don't get up at 3:30 and all that. When you get up and unable to sleep, that is a different matter. Then you can do some meditation. Then you feel like sleeping, go and sleep. Or you are able to sleep till 4:30, 5:30. God bless you, sleep. And then you wake up freshly and do meditation when you can do. Therefore, you should not be sleepy while doing meditation. You should not be lazy. So how to overcome it? That is tamas. Therefore, you may stand up. Suppose you are sitting and meditating, you feel lazy or sleepy, you stand up. And continue meditation while standing. And the laziness will go away, then you sit down. Or take 2 deep breaths and see what happens. I suggest that taking 2 deep breaths can be used for Sarala Chintanam. It is taking 2 deep breaths. There was a small handout released by Mayo Clinic. Mayo Clinic education material they release. And in one of those pamphlets, educational pamphlet, there is taking 2 deep breaths as a practice. They studied it and they highly recommended it. When you, suppose you get a phone call, the phone rings, take 2 deep breaths and then answer the phone. You know why? Because when the phone rings, you are anxious. Why you are anxious? Because you don't know what kind of, who is phoning, you don't know. And what is the content of that message that you are going to hear, you don't know. And therefore, when you don't know, there is the background of insecurity in life. Why we are afraid of future? Why we run after astrologers and all other people? Because we are insecure about the future. What is going to happen? You are insecure. That is the basic insecurity which is there with you. Conscious it is there, unconscious it is there. And therefore, unconsciously, you become anxious when the phone bell rings. Even when the doorbell rings, doorbell you leave aside, phone rings, you become anxious. You want to answer quickly. Suppose he will put it down before I answer. You are anxious in many, many ways. So, and therefore, the response, the way you pick up, and then the answer you give will be reactionary. It will not come from inner silence. It comes from an anxious me, insecure me, the response, the reply you give. Therefore, it will be reaction. It will not be action. On the other hand, you take 2 deep breaths. Breath is the link between body and the mind. It affects the mind and it affects the body. It makes the mind sattvic because the mind becomes calm. And from that calmness, from that silence, you listen to the message coming out of that phone. And then you reply. That is the advice given. Take 2 deep breaths before answering a phone call. So take 2 deep breaths before saying something to the other person by phone. You are unhappy with the other person, you want to say something by the phone, you deliberate upon it. At least take 2 deep breaths and then call and convey the message. Use this 2 deep breaths as a practice to put you back in your home of inner silence, and your actions emerge out of that inner silence. Instead of an insecure, unhappy, desiring me, which is part and parcel of the thought movement, me is the movement of thought only. It is not deeper than that. So instead of acting from that base, you better act from an inner base, a deeper base, which is the inner silence. So you practice such things. Therefore, taking 2 deep breaths helps you to overcome the tamas also. Some dullness of the mind, it will overcome. And then, because it is making the mind calm, it helps in overcoming the rajas also. Therefore, when you overcome tamas and rajas, suppose desire, you say fear is tamas, desire is rajas. Fear is tamas, because that's why fear turns you into a slave. And it takes away the vitality from the system. So fear, that's why superstitions etc. you should not entertain, because they generate fear. And the religion, if it is putting fear into you, if that is the way religion is operating in you, then that religion is not the true religion. In true religion, the fear is replaced by love. They are 2 different things. And therefore, this is how you overcome tamas and rajas. Be desireless. You see, meditation is not an action, and you will not get any reward for it. Therefore, be clear about that from the very beginning. Therefore, no rewards. That means that covetousness is gone. It will be gone, and you should keep it away. With the covetousness is not you, is not yours, it is not you. It is of the mind. It is the movement of thought. Manogata. And you should not be attached to desire so much. What is wrong with desire? Why should I not keep my desires? in a legitimate way I will keep my desire. This also all this shows that you don't want to give up desire, which is very unfortunate. That is not even a correct appreciation of the scripture. You should be desireless. Akamaha, aptakamaha, atmakamaha. All the three are paryayas. Therefore, so this is how you have to overcome the rajas. Desire is rajas. And then be simple. Be simple and be humble. When you are simple, outwardly as well as inwardly, both. I told you some of them are very simple outwardly, but they are very complex inwardly. Very complex. He will be half naked, but inside he is a bundle of superstitions and divisive thinking. So be simple and be humble. You have to hide your virtue. You should not make propaganda of your virtue. Like suppose you have done some Gayatri Japa, Gayatri Upasaka, like that, print a card, visiting card. These people, I tell you, they are crazy. So you have to hide your virtue and you have to live silently. So, and then Sarala Chintanam, I will describe another facet of it I will describe. So, you see, meditation is not just sitting like in a particular posture, etc., and keeping the eyes closed. That is not the only meditation. Shravanam can be converted into meditation. You need not do anything about it. Just you pay attention and don't say yes to what you hear and don't say no to what you hear. When you say yes to whatever you hear, that means you have lost the faculty of thinking already. This is what happens in the Gurudam. The Sishyas, they are conditioned to say yes to whatever the Guru says. That is how the conditioning operates. There is a name for it. It is called spiritual authority or religious authority. What is the authority there? You are not obliged to behave in a particular way. You eat the way I tell you, it will not be there. You live the way I tell you, it will not be there. Your life must be this way, that way. All those conditions will not be there. Therefore, it looks like a big freedom. But then you should think what I ask you to think. You cannot think independently. Because the Guru has truth. Or the Guru has means for the truth. So this is how the spiritual authority operates. And that is not a good formula for the self-realization. Even Brahma Sutra, the Badarayana asks you to think and find out. Athato Brahma Jignasa, he says. He does Atha Shabda Anushasanam. That is the Vyakarana. Here is the entire structure of the words, the Padashastra, all the words. This is how the words have to be understood. That is Shabda Anushasanam. The other day I have said Kaya Vang Manah Karyam. Immediately I quoted the Panini. This is how Panini says, and therefore follow Panini and make the samasa that fits into Panini's sutra. That is called Shabda Anushasanam. Atha Yoga Anushasanam. This is how you have to do yoga, this asana and all that. Atha Brahma Jnanam. This is Jnanam, you know. Atha Brahma Jnanam. So here is the Badarayana Maharshi who has the knowledge of the Brahma which liberates from the samsara, and he has it, and now he will give it to you. Why not? It is not like that. Therefore, you have to ceaselessly inquire. Atha Brahma Jignasa. You have to ceaselessly inquire. And that inquiry is meditation. That is meditation. And therefore, while inquiring, you are your guide. You are the preceptor and you are the pupil. So, this is how, if one lives, one realizes the truth. So, therefore, it is not what one lives, it is how one lives that is important. In what building he is living, what car he is driving, these are not the things. So in what dress he puts himself in, that is not the thing. So sometimes he may be in white dress, sometimes he may be in ochre robes. That is not the point. The point is how you live. That is what determines the meditative lifestyle. You see, meditation, I started by saying that meditation is a sattvic activity. Not activity, it is sattvic in nature. Even if you say sattvic act, no harm, but you should not misunderstand it as an action. Karma and giving result, karta. So karma means karta and result and bhokta. That is how it goes. That is how people are approaching meditation also. They go for meditation seeking a result. So, so nowadays my mind is restless and therefore I will do meditation. And what meditation? You sit and then chant a mantra, etc. So that is how the mind's restlessness could be addressed. It may help in a small way, but the basic problem is not solved. You know what is the basic problem? How come the mind became restless? What is the reason for the mind becoming restless? That you don't want to address that. You want meditation to, this is called symptomatic treatment. So mind is restless, a symptom, therefore I have meditation, a technique. Meditation is practiced as a technique. And the practice of this technique called meditation makes the mind calm. The restlessness is addressed. And so you practice for 15 minutes and go back to the world. Now you go back into the world, you are very calm, but very soon you become restless again. Because you have not addressed the basic issue of restlessness. So you inquire why mind is restless. That is meditation. The inquiry, you inquire. So how do you inquire? You ask your wife or you ask your neighbor. Is that how you inquire? No. So if you can take an advice, no harm, but the inquiry is you look within and ask the question to yourself. Learn that, practice that. You will learn it. Ask the question, why the mind is restless? Ask the question. So, like I demonstrate, I am uncomfortable. I find myself very uncomfortable, uneasy. Then I asked the question, why am I uneasy? I am in an ashram getting some nice food and I have good clothes and there are classes, everything is nice. Why should I be uneasy? Then the reason I find, the reason is I am desiring something from a guy. And that guy came to know about it and therefore he holds it back. Now he has authority over me. You know? He just keeps away. That itself acts as an authority. Then I looked at it. So this is how I am becoming uneasy. And now, okay, this desire is making me uneasy. That's otherwise I am doing fine. Okay, what is this desire? It's a valid desire. That is how the mind tricks you. The desire, now you divide the desires into valid and not valid. So that you can keep the valid desires. That is wrong, you know. That is the wrong approach. Therefore I looked at the desire. It is a valid desire, but still desire. Kaman, prajahati. You look at the bhashya. Then Bhashyakara raises a question. Suppose you give up all the desires, can we live? That question he raises and answers also, if I remember correctly, in Sthita Prajna. To live you need a few desires. So the answer is you don't need desires to live. You need groceries to live, not desires. That is not the answer given by Bhashyakara. In Bhashyakara you have to look at it and you have to refresh the memory. Therefore I examined the desire and decided This is a life of sannyasa. Why do I desire a thing? I can live without it. So I gave up the desire. At once I became at ease. I am at ease at once. And now what happened, whether the other person obliged me or not, is unimportant. It has no relevance. I do remember whether I was obliged or not. I don't remember. I forgot it. Because it doesn't matter anymore. So that way, so the mind should be free from the rajas and the tamas. Then the meditation becomes very natural. I suggest the meditation helps you to know the inner world. The sense organs and the mind and the faculty of perception. Perception is there, the inference is there. These are the means of cognition. I prefer to call them means of cognition rather than means of knowledge. If you can call means of knowledge, it is not contesting a given word, but when you say means of knowledge, you have to use the word knowledge in a particular, you have to understand the word correctly. Therefore, these means of cognition are there. They help you to know the outer world. Pretty much you know as much outer world you need to know. Unless you want to become a tourist and go around, that is a different thing. But normally you know what you need to know. You want to go to the market, you know the path and with the eyesight and all that. But what about the inner world? Generally people believe that there is so much in the outer world. So much to be known, so much to be seen. That is the tourist. So many gods to be visited. That is the pilgrim. Typical Indian pilgrim. So Sampurna Dakshina Bharata Desha Yatra. So enter into a bus and start in Chennai and see the 5 temples in Chennai, 5 different gods, and then go to the next town, see 3 gods, and go to the next town, see 2 gods. Like that it will be going on. And the pamphlet says, by the time 1 week yatra is over and we will drop you back where you started, that is Chennai, you would have visited 23 gods. Worth for the money that you spend. This is the pilgrim. This is how our religious messaging, this is how it became. Now if you say anything about it, you become anti this, anti that. You should not question, you should not inquire. This is a kind of a spiritual authority which is not good, I tell you. Everybody should be encouraged to inquire. So when you come to the Shravanam, you don't want to say yes to everything you hear. And you don't want to say no. Suppose you come, I will see what this person teaches. Suppose you come. Or you come, oh, he is not a traditional teacher. And now you come and sit in the class. So even before the person spoke, you have already said no to him. There is a no ready. That is not the way to do Shravana. So don't be a no guy, don't be a yes guy. These yes guys are very dangerous, I tell you. When the real deed comes, they won't say yes. For all silly things.